Welcome back to our last series of regulation play here in the Eastern European DPC. And I say regulation play because we're already guaranteed tiebreakers in that relegation slot down at the bottom. But this series now important for the top slots, WAGA, as both these teams tied up in series and game wins, looking for that third place position.
This is the deciding one, yeah. This is, fighting to go to the major, fighting for being in the upper top three here in the Eastern European DPC, and 9Pandas versus VP. It's a real quality match to end on here, actually, to see who's gonna, make it. We both have been saying all along that these are two strong teams and definitely should end up in the top three potentially here, like they're fighting for it. And now there's only one slot remaining. We'll have to see if 9Pandas or VP can bust it out at the end here.
Yeah, and kind of an interesting position thinking back to Tour 1 and Tour 2, where ex-Hellraisers, 9Pandas, they were kind of the dark horse in Tour 1 for sure. Showed up big time. Tour 2 looked great. First place for them looked incredible. And VP have kind of taken their slot as that gatekeeper dark horse team that looks solid, can beat all of the kind of Div 2 or relegation level teams. But still haven't broken into that top three pack. This, of course, is their chance, to head to Bali, to head to a major, get some DPC points as third tour. DPC points, they start stacking up. You win this, 500 points, you go to a major, get another couple hundred points. That's potentially enough just to get you to TI.
Yeah, this could be the fully deciding game to whether or not your team is going to have a chance at lifting that Aegis, right? Like, this is a massive series. All comes down here at the end to this best of three for the teams to put themselves in a spot where they can, get to major, get those points. Like you say, it's all about that. And honestly, it's hard for me to predict here between 9Pandas and VP. I feel like both have had moments where they've looked really strong, but none of them have been super convincing all the way through the division here. Obviously, we have Team Spirit who've been dominating the most, but even they didn't really dominate. They went 2-1 against everything. So,
yeah,
this has been a very competitive season for the Eastern European DPC, and I can't wait to see what drafts the teams are going to bring out here, what they're going to fall back to. Are we going to see Noticed get back to his comfort zones? Is the draft going to be an issue? I've had issues with VP and the way they drafted before. The last pick, Underlord, I'm still
fuming about it.
I'm fuming. Yeah, I'm upset. And for 9Pandas, I think that they overall have some great pocket strategies they can bust out. Obviously, they have their Tinker that's feared and respected, and you always have to have that in the back of your mind. Between these two teams, I think a big hero could be Beastmaster. The hero hasn't been like top contestant for a few of the series we've casted, even though he's been very, very popular. There's other heroes that have been like higher up, like Pugnas and Dooms and whatnot. But I think between these two teams, Beastmaster should be super high priority, not only because VP love it, but also 9Panda, they love playing their Tinker, and what's better to have than free vision and not giving away Beastmaster to the enemy when you have it.
Yeah, and that's a funny part of it, is that VP kind of replicated that success of Kiyotaka's Tinker, and they were one of the two teams that pre-Berlin Major were running the strat with the Bounty Hunter Beastmaster Tinker kind of deal, and finding themselves in this position where they have to play against 9Pandas, and that's going to be on the table. Yes, your Storm Pugners, yes, your Techies and Bloodseekers are going to be out there with your, Magnus first phases, but I think you're right, this vision game around Beastmaster, Disruptor, Tinker, Bounty Hunter, definitely going to be slipping into second stage of draft. Maybe even as the series progresses, we get that importance move up to like first phase Tinker ban, something along those lines, just in case. You don't want to be facing against Kiyotaka Tinker.
No, at least you want to come very prepared if you're going to have to deal with it, right? Tinker is a hero that you simply just need to have some good tools against him if you're going to go into a game. So you need to have the vision, you need to have stuff that can BKB lockdown, because once Tinker gets that BKB Shivas, it would be very troublesome. But we don't even know yet if it's going to be Tinker or not. This is just like one of the avenues that this can go. Sort of like in chess, you have different openings. Dota, the draft is, telling you how this game is going to play out in a great way as well. And we're heading into a draft here. It's going to be VP getting the first pick up against 9Pandas.
Oh, yes, the 9Panda defense. The greatest opening known to man. Beautifully done. Yeah, first ban. Let's see what VP have got in mind. It's the Beastmaster. You called for it. You thought it was going to be heavily contested. It is straight out of the park, along with that Pugna. So no Pugna Storm kind of combos coming in. We do also have this kind of Kotl Ember, Kotl TB. That's been an idea some teams have been playing with. But first phase openers, these are some hefty bans. These are the hard hitters of the patch.
We managed to mention all these heroes during the draft. Actually, like before the draft started,
Yeah.
we talked about like Doom, Beastmaster, and Pugna. All of them have been getting rid of already here. We'll see what they're gonna have join it on 9Pandas. Obviously, a few that I see that could be important here, like Spirit Breaker, for instance, going ignored for now. A hero that I think has had great success overall with being played as a plus 3. Just the ganking potential it opens up the map is pretty beautiful. But there are many high priority potential picks here. Like you mentioned, the Caudal goes well either with the Storm or the TB, both in the pool still, of course.
Yeah, that Techies has been a big go-to hero. If this was Team Spirit, we'd be talking about the Lich, of course, and I'm curious to see if Lich is something that slipped across in scrims to some of these other teams' drafting board. But there is the Techies band, very, very popular first phase pick. So now we're left with our like Magnus, Bloodseeker. I don't know what else. Spirit Break you talked about as well?
I think Bloodseeker being left means that Magnus should be less of a threat, I say. And they immediately pick the Magnus anyway. So I fully expect that 9Pandas here have a great position to just take the Bloodseeker. It's a good reaction pick if you want. Obviously, Rupture is great against the Skewer. The lane isn't bad. You don't take much Empower harassment since you just keep healing when you get creeps. So that's one way that 9Pandas can respond here. Also, Batrider being in the pool. Fantastic +5, +4 hero. Can be played +2, +3. He is so damn flexible. The only thing he doesn't do is carry. Yeah. He just doesn't play the safe lane right-click build, but you know, he probably has ideas for that too.
Oh wow! Well, that's a heavy-handed opener. Bat Timber, like you said, Batrider very flexible. Timber, we've also seen this position 3 or 2, depending on where they want to be slotting him in. What's the second pick for VP here? Do we just go safe with like an Enchantress? Do we want a Skyrath Mage to add a bit more magic damage? Do you want a save hero against Batrider?
5 seconds remaining.
It's a bit tricky what you want to go. I mean, there are save heroes that can be good, but a lot of them have not really felt that nice in this patch. Like, some people have tried playing Oracle or play these heroes that are meant to sit behind and like protect, but I feel they just don't really fare that well. Because they lack some active ideas. Like, making your own moves is usually more productive than trying to counter the opponent's move. Because if you misread and you're sitting at the wrong place with your protection hero, then suddenly you're not looking for that gank. And what if they just gank on another lane or pick someone off? You know, the map is very big now, many places to be. So it can be tricky. I think you just grab a strong support for laning stage here. You could grab yourself a Disruptor, fantastic. Get some silence against the Timbersaw, Glimpse against Batrider, and Timber for the Timber Chain and for the Firefly. I don't see anything wrong with taking Disruptor right now, but there are a few other options as well they could go down if they want.
Well, from deep in his mind palace, FNG has decided Skyrath Mage is the go-to. Probably the fact that Timbersaw's out on the table here, that Ancient Seal plus Magic Burst, going to feel pretty good when you're dealing with him, no matter what his role is going to be.
Yeah, it fits similar purpose. It gives you a silence and also gives you a lot of magic damage, which is great against Timber, and nothing to stop you from still taking Disruptor as 5, and then the Skyrath 4, of course. Totally expecting this to be the Magnus plus Skyrath combination for offlane, even though they could play it as a carry for Kirtik as well and give notice to a different hero in the second phase.
It's definitely putting VP in a position that we've not seen from them this tour, though. You know, they've kind of been allowed to get a lot of their openers with Pugna Beastmaster, Pugna Storm, Pugna Dusa. There's Techies Bloodseeker, several games in a row, Techies Beastmaster. So having this Magnus Skyrath Mage, you know, yes, they've played these individual heroes, but I don't believe they've opened up with them in a draft. So it's going to be new, untreaded fields of glory potentially for VP. Try out something a little new here, but that's always what happens, right? You get through a tour, you get to literally the last series of the tour, the meta's developed, and then you're researching and trying to figure out what to do against specific teams. And VP going into this, the underdogs, by all means, against 9Pandas, got to come out with something a little special in their draft.
Yep, they do. And it's a nice way that they're opening it, though. I mean, Magnus is just stability. He's like a hero that can work in pretty much every scenario, also has so much flex potential. So I think he is a good way to start. And they have the Magnus plus Sky ulti combination now. You can just RP something, dump the Skyrath ulti, and that's usually a pretty quick kill. So it's a good start. But now with 9Pandas being allowed to shield their Timbersaw with this Bloodseeker ban in the second phase, which would have been really good. They can also target down some other counters, like I mentioned, the Disruptor. There's also like heal mitigation if you want to get rid of something like an AA even. The AA Magnus combo against Timber is playable.
10 seconds
But,
remaining.
We'll see exactly what they want to get rid of the most here.
5
Potentially just
seconds
more strong
remaining.
laning carries, I think. Look at your Ursas, your Monkey Kings. Something with Empower, because VP want that. VP want a combination to empower someone up and let them hyperform.
Yeah, there's also the potential, like, you know, of course, Magnus comfortable across multiple core roles. There's the chance here we see the Squadix Ember, which has been his signature hero for the past couple of tours, always excels on it. And Ember Spirit with Empower feels very good often.
Yep. So they ban out the Monkey King. As mentioned, is definitely a good hero here with Empower. But yeah, I like what you say there. The Ember, even though he's not great at like killing a farm Timbersaw later on, his single target damage is pretty low. But his general AoE damage, especially with Empower as well, would be able to do quite a bit of damage. And yeah, Squadix likes playing these Spirit heroes. I've seen him so much on Void Spirits. The last few days, I mean, I've seen him grind pubs. He's playing a lot of Void Spirit. I'm playing with him, and he plays a very good Void Spirit. He played it in a few of the pro games here as well, so definitely wouldn't be surprising to see him either take, you know, one or the other of the Spirit options here. Depending. You could see 9Pandas find themselves a little bit low on disable when you grab a Timber.
5 seconds
They have the Batrider so far, but you don't want to rely on him to be the only one to lock down a hero like Ember or Storm or whatever, especially if it's a support Batrider who maybe won't even have a Blink Dagger that early on.
And it's still just so wild to me that we have Solo drafting against FNG in the year 2023. You know, these guys have been around for so long. The super veterans of the craft, and that's why, you know, they're being very deliberate and methodical with deciding what they want to be banning. And I think that's a bit of targeting there from Solo against FNG, saying, hey, Silencer would have been pretty good here. You got your Magnus Sky, a bit of coverage from the global would have been very annoying to deal with.
Yep. Yeah, it's just more silence. Silence is great against Timbersaw. You can even sometimes screw him over by keeping him from pulling back his Chakram, which burns his mana a little bit more. He leaves it out. You know, there are a lot of downsides to playing against a Silencer here. Also could generate just an awful lane matchup if you're off-lane Timber against something like a Silencer Magnus safe lane. That sounds pretty tough. You can get pulled back, silenced up. It's a tricky one.
So in this third pick slot, you know, first pick of the second phase, you get this individual pick that can feel a little wonky sometimes. 9Pandas often like to pick Solo's hero, this kind of Jakiro and Undying, one of these tanky position 5 supports that can control a lane or potentially dominate it, depending what they're up against. So not giving anything away there for Solo, making sure he's going to have a solid time no matter what happens.
Yeah, he just wants to be able to provide complete free farm, and Undying is probably the #1 support hero for doing that. There's no support, maybe Techies, but not even him really. There's no support that can bully 2 heroes as easily as Undying does. He just creates like a window, a timing window, because he runs out of resources after a while. It's not unusual to even see Undying with 0 items, right, at minute 4 or something.
Yeah.
Using up all his consumables. But he does give like the biggest timing window in the start to get farm, get levels, get denies, get a good start for your carry. So 9Pandas focusing a lot on laning stage here with the way they're opening. And VP, they don't have much of a choice to react to the Undying pick as well, since they pretty much already showed Magnus Sky, which is likely to be the off lane.
Right,
so we mentioned he could be safe lane, so probably just gonna have to deal with that. And there's that Storm Spirit. Like I said, he plays all the Spirit heroes. This guy Squadix is you know, he played his Ember, he played his Void Spirit. Time for a little bit more Storm. Doesn't have a steroid yet. I'm not sure if we're gonna see the Caudal Sky combo, but could take it. It's a bit awkward in some ways, but it's still good. I mean, it's still a lot of mana for Storm. I'm more on board with the Disruptor still. I think that would work better.
Yeah, and if it's likely an FNG hero, I think I'm also leaning the same way. I'd much rather see him on a Disruptor than a Keeper of the Light. Give him a bit more, you know, active positioning. Lich gonna come out, though. Like we said, Team Spirit been toying with this hero a lot, and it seems like that's bled through into VP's draft.
I love this. I love this hero being picked up. I think Lich is way stronger than he's given credit for right now. I think in general, he is not on a lot of people's radar, but Team Spirit, they used it to great success, made it look very, very good. And I've seen a few other people experiment with it. I've seen tons of damage come out from Lich +5, and I think it's just a good lane bully that doesn't necessarily fall off in the same sense that Undying does. Undying, you know, while he dominates the lane, then he kind of just becomes a tombstone and this slow-moving blob in the fight that you kind of try to ignore and like kill his teammates. Whereas Lich, you always have that frost shield. It scales amazingly well, and your pull is the big reason the hero doesn't fall off that much. Having insta-disable, always valuable. Even more so now that Morphling gets picked up by 9Pandas, so that's going to be your hard carry right there. The one who's going to enjoy a little bit of space from the Undying.
Yeah, and I always forget this. Sinister Gaze has some kind of mana drain, right? 10%
yes.
mana drain per second. And like it doesn't sound like much, and it probably isn't much, but when you're dealing with heroes like Timber and Morphling, that can add up if they get instantly caught, burst down by Sky, burnt of all their mana, and things could turn quickly.
Yeah. The thing is, it drains a percentage of current mana, I believe, not max mana, so it's not insanely strong, but it can still be unexpected, right? If you're playing against Anti-Mage, you're expecting, he gets banned out here, by the way, you're expecting to lose your mana, but if you're playing against a Lich, you don't always calculate that, oh, he's gonna Sinister Gaze me and I will lose 20% of my current mana in the 2 seconds they pulls me. Like, nobody really, you know, is prepared for that a lot of the times. It just comes as a shock. So,
10 seconds
useful.
remaining.
You can also use it to stop, like, Timber Chain. If he starts Timber Chaining and then you pull him during the Timber Chain, it stops.
Yeah.
So there's potential for high skill moves. Even on a +5, you can make big plays.
So what are we left over with here? An offlane hero for 9Pandas, as it looks like VP have figured out this is going to be the mid Timber, and then a carry for VP, right?
10
Kiratik,
seconds
his hero, going to
remaining.
come out last.
Yeah, it really should be. I mean,
5
there is the
seconds
potential
remaining.
that they want to put something else, but I think Magnus is fine against Morphling. I don't think they're going to flex it to carry here. So, yeah, I totally think that they're still looking for their carry hero and need something to deal with all these different things that 9Panda are presenting. A little bit tricky now with the Morphling coming in and the Anti-Mage being banned out. They could just go for like a Void. It's pretty stock
10
standard. They have
seconds remaining.
Skywrath combo. They have Empower for Void. Like, it's Lich ulti into
5
Chronosphere.
seconds
It would
remaining.
round out their draft in an extremely good way, Faceless Void, but
Dire team pick.
It's just kind of nice that they have cover against these kind of illusion heroes, right? You don't want to be picking TB or Naga into Morphling Timber, so you're not really too worried about those. So I do like the bans on the AM and Lifestealer that would have offered a lot more tempo. Lifestealer bombs inside of Storm and Magnus. AM against this Timber Morph would have been
10
cool.
seconds
But
remaining.
Slark rounds things out for VP. And we now need to know, is it Timber mid or
5
offlane?
seconds
What's Miero's
remaining.
hero going to be in this last slot?
I think you put Timber mid still for sure and just get something.
now
But with
select
the
your
puck pickup
heroes.
here, I guess that could be Kiritaka. Gonna take that. So it is Timber offlane into Slark. Definitely a lane that can be punished, especially with Lich, who's such a strong lane bully. We'll see how much they can do to protect the Timber with the Batrider here. Obviously, the Firefly can hurt a lot for Slark to go in under. Maybe Timber can just play close to his bat in that regard. But a little bit of a risky pick there. You do get a ton of magic damage against the Slark, though, from the Timber. You can burst him with all the pure damage. But this mid matchup of Storm and Puck, I think it's a very, very active play from both mid laners. This should be an exciting game to watch from their perspective.
It absolutely should, yeah. I mean, I was listening into your stream the other day and I heard a conversation about Puck and item builds. And I think you were touching on the fact that there's no like key item for the Puck to feel good about. Like, okay, I get Witchblade, I get Blink, but there isn't that explosive, you know, I'm going to destroy the game with this item kind of feel to Puck anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I play a lot with Sing Sing, and Sing Sing loves playing Puck, but he also is talking about how the hero is pretty gutted now. The level 1 nukes are very, very bad compared to before. It's, you know, damage to mana ratio, if you compare it to some other mid heroes, like Storm, for instance, has such a good farming tool in the queue. But yeah, the best you can do on Puck is pretty much just go for that Witchblade, get the Blink Dagger, and then start ganking and get some stuff done. But it's not as crazy powerful as some of the universal heroes on mid lane and what they can be doing right now.
Yeah, they definitely offer a lot, and we're going to head ourselves into game 1 of this best of 3 after a quick video from EGB.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system, welcome bonus up to $600, cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
And welcome back as we get ourselves into game. Before anything chaotic or dramatic happens, just a quick little smoke out and a couple of wards placed. Looks like one in the river from the Dire, one up on that little bit of high ground from the Radiant near the top rune spot. And of course, all the beautiful player faces across your screens. And even the odds right in the middle, 2.6 to 1.4 flat even odds. And 9Pandas favored, but not too heavily.
Yeah, not too heavily, and anything could happen. I would say also, final note on the draft before we really focus on the gameplay and execution here is that I would say neither team has like a massive edge in the draft here. This is definitely going to come down to how they play it out, who gets the edge in positioning, execution, timings. All these things can be very crucial. Seiju has been spotted here as they walk down. He also has vision on them on the high ground though, of course, so we know they know. And we definitely got to see some D-word here later, I think.
The battle begins.
Yeah, it's almost like these two drafts are like identical archetypes. You know, they've got the same amount of instant catch and burst damage. A Gareth Mage and Magnus compared to this like Timbersaw and Bat Rider can be able to catch you and kill you. The kind of carry from these position ones, the Slark and the Morphling, offering a lot of physical damage. Elusive mids, the Storm and the Puck can be jumping into backlines, catching people out. Neither team really has a massive amount of like tower damage or tower push, but they've got ways to fight to get themselves into positions to take objectives.
They are incredibly similar. Both the drafts have like similar ideas. Even the carries are both quite elusive, right? Having waveform or having
right
to get around. But that's also a thing to mention. Slark and Morphling can later on turn into Slark. And that's a pretty nasty hero to become. You can jump around with that.
And his lane's already solo trying to do that 1v2 bullying that you were mentioning. Getting the decay stacks up, whacking into noticed while Ramses does just continue very calmly farming away. 2 and 1. And a good pick off there. Solo gets the last hit. Sometimes you just got to take it.
Sometimes you just gotta get that range creep for yourself as an Undying, you know? The Morphling standing there trying to last hit with 58 damage. You come in with your 88 damage or something from all the strength you've been stealing. And he's just gonna run at them, but so far VP doing a good job kind of dancing around the harassment of Solo, and he's not connecting too well. You usually want to get those 2 hero decays. Even a pull attempted here by Seiju, for Solo to get out of position perhaps.
And that mid lane looking pretty even as well. A lot of trading of blows as the bottles do come out, get themselves all topped up. Squadic's going to take a minor lead here with this new wave arriving at his tower. But does miss out on a couple of last hits because of Kiyotaka's pressure. And that final lane down at bottom. Of course, we've got this Slark and Lich against Timber Bat. Miera and Antares, they've got a lot of damage now. They've hit level 2 on Timbersaw, but they need a little bit more on this Bat Rider to really get on top of the Lich.
Lich pulls him, stops him from getting to the small camp. So using the Sinister Gaze there, FNG secured that a small camp spawned. That was such a minor detail, but really, really important for him, because now he has availability to try and stack that up and get a pull later on. Not gonna go for the immediate pull now, because he wants to stick around for these range creeps, help protect his Slark, who, together with Slark, they secure both the range creep last hits. Very good for them.
Yeah, I was looking at this Bat Rider thinking, oh, it's probably time to go for them as the Dire team, but he was kept away from level 2 so long with these denies coming out of the Radiant. And taking a little bit of time to get off the ground there as the off lane for 9Pandas. Sayush and Noticed right in front of their tier 1 right now. We'll see if Solo can get any pulls. Or this is the awkward part, is your position 5 Undying. Like, I've got no mana, I've got to pop mangoes and clarity. Where am I meant to be?
Yeah, it's very tricky. He tries to get the cancel on the clarity there. Ramses tanks it, but he's controlling the Lotus. That's a pretty big objective at the 3 minutes here. So bottom, it's going to be Slark taking the Lotus, and top, it's going to be over on Undying, who of course might use it for his Morphling or just pass it over to him. But at least gets a bit of extra resources there, as well as a lot of magic stick charges from this continuous harass from Skyra.
Spamming out his bolt and shots.
The important thing, though, is that Skyrath has done all this work trying to harass, and Solo is still above 50% HP. He's still feeling happy, and he has a 10 stick. And Morphling hasn't taken any real harassment. He's 20 and 3 versus 11 and 1 on Magnus. So Morph is winning the 1v1, while Solo is just keeping Sky busy.
Even the neutral creeps turning against Sayers there, getting hurricaned by the Wild Wing. They do get a bit of damage on the Solo, but he's so incredibly tanky. Even has that point in Tombstone. Now he's at level 3 if he wants to try and turn and fight. 2 points up in the decay, so now offering a bit more damage as well. Well, looks like just going to be standing next to Ramses, holding his hand through this lane stage.
Bottom lane, they're trying to bother Stark here. Actually, gonna try for a kill, maybe even.
Yeah, straight onto tower. Blood grenades thrown by both sides. The Sinister Gaze is going to drag back Miero and keep Kiratik Slark reasonably healthy under his tier 1. Still got Fairy Fire and a bit of regen to be handed over by FNG.
He's gonna have to give him a salve there, final salve, and that's the last bit of regen they have on the lane. They're coming in with more tangles for the Slark though on Courier, so they already calculated that this would happen. Get his HP back up. Before level 6, this lane is such a struggle for Kiratik, but once he gets that level 6, he'll be a happy Slark.
And we start to see the leads actually appear as FNG. Well, he's going to die, but Ramses was the first blood. Sayers gets the kill up at top.
Yeah, finally managed to get the kill there. I'm surprised that they actually found a way to open up there. Solo still full HP. I think he just got a little bit too far away from his Morphling and didn't really protect him. Gets brought down here. Obviously, they both have all their tools now, right? They have the Ancient Seal to silence up the Morph. You have to be very cautious about that. Staying low HP.
Yeah, it looked like there was some lane drag going on. I don't know if there's a bit of miscommunication between Ramses and Solo and what they wanted to do with the creep equilibrium. But first blood for the Gareth Mage, going to feel good for VP. As 9Pandas, they kill the Lich down bottom, but that's not really changing the status quo of that bottom lane. It's still Slark farming, doing decently for themselves. Yeah, the point I was coming to was we were seeing this lead appear for 9Pandas. Their 3 cores are still top of the net worth, but the kill they get up top really does salvage things for the Magnus.
Yeah, was important there for VP overall. Getting something on this lane and getting extra gold is going to help them make moves now. They have the boots on Skyrath. He's going to start stacking up on the way to a 6-minute rune. All the supports rotating over.
Where's it going to be? And Kiyotaka having to pop through his bottles. Invis rune for the Scarth Mage up at top. Harasses Solo away.
Probably a good thing for 9Panda that no big fight was forced there, because Storm was level 6 and Puck was only level 5 during the 6-minute rune spawn. So it could have been dangerous. FNG though, gotta be the one in danger now.
Oh dear. Yeah, getting caught up with the Storm. He's coming to help, and FNG, he's still alive. Turns on Antares, gets the kill with the Overload. Squadex takes him down. Meanwhile, though, Miero solo kills the Slark in the bottom lane. Oh, that's huge.
Kill. Yeah, that should not have happened. Slark also died with Fairy Fire, 9 Magic Wand, and Healing Lotus in inventory. How did you die to a Timber? He doesn't have Stun or Silence, Gareth. That kill should not have happened.
Yeah. Man, not a great one there. Kiratik gotta wake up. He's definitely got a wake-up call from that death.
Yeah, no, that's... You know, if Morphling was also a kill, perhaps that shouldn't have happened. Now at least the VP carry find themselves in the same spot here.
Wisdom runes 1 for 1. 7 minutes in. Everybody on their toes, ready to grab them. And we even watched there the Scareth Mage doing this little bit of tech, dragging the ancient camps to try and defend yourself from any contest.
Yeah, it's a neat thing. You can go for stack and go for the rune, and then the ancients double as your bodyguards. Bottom lane, we're gonna see now with the Chakram go in to pressure the Stark here even more.
Yeah, and Batrider's over the top of Kiratik. A lot of damage from this Firefly, but Squadex here to answer the aggression with a zip in and a kill on the Batrider. He can't offer enough to kill the Timber. They need FNG's assistance now. And Timber out of mana, can't take down Squadex. The chain not going to get there because the Sinister Gaze from FNG was on time. Tombstone's down. He's going to sacrifice himself. Take me, not the Storm. Gives his life to keep Squadex and Kiratik both alive in that bottom lane.
That was a god tier save by FNG. That Timber Chain was not too short. It connected on the tree, but he pulled him just in time, stopping it, and Squadex lives only because of it. So sometimes your support just dives in, bites the bullet, says, okay, live my Storm, get back to base, get your refills, and TP out and gank somewhere, you know. Or in this case, he's going to have to run since he TP reacted to bottom. Still a good aggression overall there for 9Pandas, even though they didn't get the kill on either the Slark or the Storm, and they lost the Batrider. I still would say that that was a big win for them, because they forced Slark out of the lane, they forced Storm to make this long run back, and they still got a support kill.
Yeah, this is a good minute and a half, maybe more for the Timber. He's pushing bottom tier 1. And honestly, Miero, top of the net worth, seems untouchable at this point in the game. Kind of just have to, ignore him, go somewhere else.
Yeah,
put a Slark there for now.
Trying for silence here on Ramses, but not gonna be able to burst him from 1,000 HP. He's wisely sitting high enough morphed here on 42 strength to not be in burst territory. No Skywrath ulti available, no RP available, so he's pretty confident here, walking up, just harassing the Magnus. This smoke is not going to yield anything, it seems like.
Yeah, even FNG here. Troy landing into the Morphling. He's going to Sinistigate some creeps. As Kiyotaka hasn't really made any moves yet. We've not seen his coil come into play. Level 8 Puck will move top.
Rune too.
Coil Magnus, and when that DD rune makes short work of Noticed. Because we've seen Squadix be pretty active on the Storm already, and that's Kiyotaka's first move just immediately paying off.
Yeah, it feels good for Kiyotaka. He's been a little bit more focused on getting a CS up and, you know, able to actually farm up, using the jungle a little bit with the DD rune now as well. And getting a quick, easy gank, get a core kill. That's the dream right there. Where Squadix, his rotation bottom was more a forced one. That didn't really work out that well for him either. Our runes. Arcane rune. Both mids definitely want that one, but it's going to be Kiyotaka getting it this time. No Arcane Storm.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Yeah, both of them hungry for it. And we're seeing the power of this patch, the stacks being built. Batrider's already working on that eastern side of the map with Ancients and large camps. So we'll have the ability for pretty much anyone from 9Pandas to come across and accelerate their farm. Doesn't feel like anybody really is in catch-up mode and needs it desperately. Who would you give these stacks to, actually?
Oh, that's a good question. I think maybe you actually make a case for using it on Timber, but you could always just ignore the stacks and play on the lane as Timber, pressure, get the tier 1 tower eventually, and by doing so, you don't really have time to go back and farm the stacks. If you back up, you kind of let your foot off the gas. Whereas for Morphling, it's more natural. He's going to be farming jungle anyway, so you can just go there and stand there for like a minute and a half and auto-attack away. It's not the fastest of clearing agents, but he could.
Or how about I sell you on this support Batrider becoming another core and taking all the farm?
I thought about that too, but it's, you know, you could do it. You could actually do it. Batrider does farm the ancients decently fast with support role even. But I wonder if you really value the net worth that much on him. Ultimately, I think he's going to be fine. He's just going drums. He's not even going for a blink. Mid, though, save. Gets the silence out first, though.
Yeah, gets the Ancient Seal and the Mystic Flare. Kiyotaka dead. The reaction times of that Scarth Mage impressive as the Batrider lassos up the Storm, but with enough mana left to zip across, he'll try and bodyguard the FNG and notice Magnus Lich to turn back on solo and get a couple of kills. Under that tier 1 mid, we saw the long wraparound smoke from 9Pandas. They saw Ancient stacks, but no heroes. Tried to kill a Sky mid. That's not paying off for them. It's huge for VP.
Yeah, that was massive. Good reactions, lightning fast there, and he also sat in good positioning. He was not really out of position. They had to go far to try and reach him. That's why Puck didn't really reach the silence in before. Obviously, Sky can silence from farther away, and you went for this Witchblade. You don't have Blink yet on Puck, so if your opponent is not out of position, then it can be hard to initiate like that. Maybe he needed to orb in and then try to orb into insta Waning Rift from that. But either way, that's a massive turnaround, and Storm happily takes these counter initiations under tower. That's fantastic for him to be fighting there.
Yeah, I mean, this is level 3 Ancient Seal. You don't muck around with that. Sayer's going to have his Pavis now to make himself a little tankier in these small scraps. As VP group mid. Yeah, smoke up as 3. They've got level 6 on FNG, so Chain Frost at the ready.
Honestly, Pavis feels like it's made for Skywrath in some ways. Get a bit of armor, mana regen. Oh, coming up with this detection here. They did just scan. Timber would be a big kill. He's a little bit too far, though.
All the stacks are gone. Nobody here. Getting some deep vision down, though, at least FNG, as he's still smoked up.
He's just gonna try and keep play under tower here. I think they realize that the gank is coming. Timber is not leaving, letting his Batrider get some farm instead. And for now, 9Panda kind of being more reactive and just waiting, as they were previously the ones to overstep a little bit there on the mid lane. Now they're just sitting back, farming double Ancients at the same time here, trying to, you know, make sure they get some stuff, or at least trying to ward up. But it was ward blocked. No sentry yet to unblock the left Ancient camp.
I'll see if someone gets on that. Yeah, it definitely felt like 9Pandas were feeling themselves, knowing they're ahead. I'm feeling pretty strong going for that move mid. But yeah, like you say, just kind of sitting back now, taking a back seat, farming up, and keep that advantage going.
I think they're confident that they can just outfarm right now. Like, they, even against Empower, their farm speed is so damn high. And they're using Batrider kind of as, you know, a sacrifice to go first here, not losing Kiyotaka to silence again.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show his face. And they're also pressuring, like they're not farming just on their side of the river. They're going into enemy jungle, making sure there's no safe places here for the Slug to farm out or the Storm to sit. And Solo's gonna plop his tombstone on that high ground, chasing the Sayush. Mystic Flare's down on Antares, but the Scarab Mage finished off by Kiyotaka as they look for the bonus kill in FNG and slice him with a Timber Saw. 9Pandas, they bring 4 heroes into that bottom jungle, swinging mid now, while Ramses just continues killing creeps.
Ramses is having a very, very good start here on his Morphling as well, just happily farming away, and ahead of him even is the Timbersaw now, clearing out both those ancient stacks, put him so high up in net worth. He has the Vanguard, and he has almost a full Kaya Sanj as well. 9.1k net worth, minute 15 here is impressive amount of farm.
Yeah.
And like I said, that lane against Slark, it can be tricky, because obviously Slark, if he starts owning, then you can fall behind really hard. But I think the value of just Batrider against Slark historically has been bad, but nowadays you just max Firefly anyway, so Slark isn't actually good against that.
Yeah, you force him to use that Dark Pact pretty early anyway.
A prize.
Kurtis, what's he up to? Echo Saber, Diffusal Blade into Ags. I'm going for this kind of mid-game timing. You can obviously disassemble that Echo to try and get things a little faster. VP, they were angling towards mid, looking for that Kiyotaka puck. Not going to find him though, as 9Pandas is going to hold their ground, but a Blink RP from Notice catches the puck and they throw everything on him. Chain Frost bounces, kills the bat by his side. And Squadix even balling in there looking for a +1.
Well, he did not expect that play right there. The Blink RP. It's usually something that you can react to if you're, you know, expecting it. Then you can definitely phase shift to react against it. But if it's completely not on your radar that it's about to happen, it can be very, very difficult. So they get him there. Nice reveal of the Blink Dagger from Magnus. And this is going to be in the back of his head now on Kiyotaka. Like, okay, I'm going to be ready to spam that phase shift for the rest of the game. We'll see if he gets caught in the same way again. Definitely that was a great starting kill, though.
Yeah, a monumental kill for VP for sure. But how does that change the kind of flow of the game? Because with this Magnus, we've seen a lot of this Vanguard Echo Saber. The only player that has kind of religiously gone for Blink has been Collapse. And even he has had it backfire and not pay off.
I mean, ultimately, it means that you're not scaling as hard. This Blink Dagger means that you need to get some of these pickoffs. Because if you just went for Echo Saber, you would be farming faster. Like you're alluding to, you would be able to keep up with the Morphling. You would be able to, you know, try and stay relevant. Mid, a nice pull here.
Oh, they've grabbed the puck again.
Yeah.
Kiyotaka dead once more.
Back-to-back feeding.
And they're going to die for more. Notice with a Blink Scuba, grabs Antares bat, Flame Break back, and the Timber Saw in, trying to chakra him down. Notice, not going to slip away from this as he's being tailed by the Timber. Should be able to finish him off in a second. Squadix does get a pick off on the bat at long last, but Notice, ooh, he blinks away. The distance is made. No chance for Miera to catch it, and Sayush is out in the little tree line there, hides in the pocket. How did they...
couldn't get vision?
Only the Lich died.
That was a fantastic getaway. I cannot believe they got the puck, got one more kill from the people who came in trying to punish them. They managed to snag the Batrider kill and only lose the Lich. VP very, very clean there, especially considering how far ahead Panda are right now in farm. Like, this Timbersaw is a monster, but they kited him really well using the Skywrath Ancient Seal. The 6-second silence is fantastic against him, and yeah, just really good moves. And overall, they didn't find a ward yet on 9Panda. There's a ward behind the tier 1, between the tier 1 and tier 2, and it's lived a full, happy life and created at least 2 pickups now.
Yeah, a couple of them for sure. Yeah, bless FNG. That was all that smoke move into that dire Ancients area. They didn't net them any kills or pressure or anything. Just ward placement. Don't think about it until 4 or 5 minutes later when suddenly team fight victories. 2 kills on puck.
Yeah, the fights are great, Gareth. I really like what they're doing there, but I'm still very concerned for them. This Morphling, he's getting massive. He's getting close to Aghanims right now. He only needs 1,400 more gold. Once he has the entire components, or all those components, then him turning into Slark means not only is he gonna be pouncing around and be super annoying, your Slark, it's gonna have no damage output. All the attack speed is gonna be gone,
Radiant's middle
and
tower is under
you really
attack.
need early Lincoln Spear against this. That's what we're seeing Kirtik already queue up, but he can't buy it yet. He needs to go Aghanims first, then he wants to go Shard, and then he goes Lincoln. Oh,
That's it.
more.
He got off his morph, but Manta there to get out of the Mystic Flare and silence. Ramses survives the onslaught from the 3 that jump him.
That's a hard kill. They can't really kill him without Magnus, I think. The only way they can kill him there is if RP comes in and then the Electric Vortex from Storm Spirit. But since it's just the silence and the Vortex, he can survive long enough to get the Manta out. And Gank attempt is going to fail, which means 9Panda now a little bit with momentum here.
Is under attack.
But yeah, that whole situation with Morph getting his item timings, feeling very comfortable. That's kind of what I was poking at with the Magnus Blink, and what we've seen from Collapse is that lack of scaling. Buying Blink is very much that investment in fighting, in aggression. And if you don't get your return from it, you can feel a little underfarmed, a little sad as the game progresses. It's going to be this next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I like the idea of trying to stay active though on the Magnus, because if they just farm in this game, I do believe 9Pandas are going to be winning out on that trade. You don't really want to go late game against Timbersaw and Morphling here. So the idea is probably correct, but as you pointed out, it does hinder his own game a little bit.
Ooh, a coil. Kill this pesky Skyrath mage, or at least try. Chucks a couple of spells at solo. He'll still die under the tombstone.
Under attack.
FNG going to try and defend tier 1 with his Frost Shield, but 9Pandas with 4 heroes and a catapult. Make short work of it.
Tower has fallen.
Yeah, gonna be more map control for them, opening up a little bit there as they get their second tower of the game. Ramses now moving down to the bottom as well. This is kind of indicating they want to take over the Roche area and use this part of the map, which gives them access to, if they ever win a team fight, take Roche very quickly. With the Morphling in team, it's always something they can do. Wisdom Runes can be grabbed up here by Kiyotaka and FNG.
Kiyotaka still farming Ancients. A lot of focus here from the puck to keep that farm going.
Okay, they're going straight in, not waiting to win a team fight before going Roche. So this could be a chance for VP to go and punish this. They smoke up immediately. The reaction is good. They're in time for this.
Yeah, I mean, this Flesh Golem damage amp, it speeds things up a little bit, but not enough to get there fast enough as VP make their approaches. Kiyotaka through an orb at the wave, trying to hug the tree line up north. As VP, they come swinging around, still smoked up and ready to strike, but Roche has fallen. Aegis there for Ramses. And VP holding high ground. Couriers give away their positioning and allowing Miero to jump in onto FNG. Ramses closes in. The gap is breached. The Slark in trouble. Scarth dies first. The Chain Frost bouncing, but it's doing nothing through the pipe barrier. Timber has protected his team, and VP scattering to the wind. 3 cores do survive, thankfully for VP, but they've lost out on Roche. They lose a team fight, and now they're scrambling across the map.
I think they would have been in time if they tried to go for a more direct approach there. They tried to go for like a wraparound play, and it took too long for them to really get there. The moment that the Roshan has fallen, Aegis' Flame comes out, you could see hesitation in their move. They were like, oh, this was not part of the plan. What do we do? Do we stay? Do we fight? And ultimately, didn't get to use the RP, didn't find a good chance for it. The Lich ulti kind of just bouncing around without anything else being thrown into it. And they ultimately had to just disengage with Stark, double jumping away. So now 9Panda in a fantastic lead. Whenever you get this Aegis on Morphling, it gives such a confident feeling. You can just run down lanes. Tier 2 towers are not going to be long for this world if Morphling can enforce his will here.
I like how the Observer's bringing up the last hits and denies there. You know, we're 23 minutes in, but just looking at the Batrider's CS values, he's tripling every other support, getting so much more farm than you normally would, and sat at 7,000 net worth with 4 staff drums and, what, 3/4 of Blink money saved up? This Bat is getting big.
That's the thing that he's providing here. He is shoving some lanes every now and then, which is something that Lich and Skyrath can't really do. None of these supports are actually farming at all. Critic gonna stay safe here, I think.
Tower is under attack.
Looks to be okay. Oh, this could be dangerous though. They're going for the Tormentor right now. I guess they're gonna be fine. 9Pandas are just taking tier 1 tower. Meanwhile though, so they're gonna lose that, but they'll gain a shard for Skyrath.
Radiant's top tower has
I mean,
fallen.
taking it then rather than letting 9Pandas swarm the area and steal it away from you, probably a wise move.
Yeah, I mean, I've brought it up so many times that it's super important to try and access the enemy Tormentor to remove the tier 1 tower first. So, very heads up to do that.
Oh, whoa.
Saved him from the skewer there. That looked like he was going to get skewered, but Timber Chain also pulled at the same time.
Yeah, I blinked and and I just see Mags and Timbersaw kind of swapping places. Oh, Miera's gonna get himself away.
He has Lotus Orb as well. Or, not Lotus Orb yet. He's almost got Lotus Orb on Timbersaw. As he's using his energy booster still for mana.
Yeah, he's been disassembling and reassembling items the entire game. The
Yeah.
life of the offlaner nowadays.
True. Not going for the Octary in this game.
Oh.
Other things. I like what he's doing, just disassembling,
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
disassembling and throwing backpack every now and then. But yeah, finally gonna complete up the Lotus Orb. Of course, Lotus Orb nowadays requires the recipe as well, so you can't just buy the
Radiant's
components.
middle tower is under
First
attack.
time I tried to buy it, this patch I was like, what? Why isn't it done?
Why isn't it combining? Where's my goddamn Lotus Orb?
Radiant's
Yeah,
That's
all
gonna be
bottom
such a
tower
good
is
item
under
here though,
attack.
against Lich, Skywrath.
Dire
against
are
Storm.
scanning.
Yeah. Massive value. Well,
Radiant's bottom
disassembling just
tower has fallen.
reminds me of the patch where we had Axe buying Tranquil's Arcanes and swapping between them, just disassembling boots.
Ooh.
Hey, Antares! Goes straight into tier 3s to grab FNG. Lich dusted, Glimmercape not protecting him, and 9Pandas, they've waltzed up the ramp and they're hitting your towers.
He may have to buy back on Lich here. He's not using it though.
Noticed? Gonna grab the Morphling, Manta style, and the shift of attributes there from Ramses. And of course, he's got that Aegis with a second life available. Kiritich, not gonna be able to do too much there as 9Pandas. They start their slow retreat and realize they can reset and put Ramses back up on the front lines for a little bit.
Yeah, Aegis is not too long. It's 50 seconds more here, and they don't really want to overstay their welcome. They could wait for next creep wave and keep pushing high ground, but then the Aegis would be close to timing out. So instead, just backing up, enjoying what they did. They forced out the buyback. Now, kind of hovering. Doesn't look like they want to let go of control of the area, though. Nero
Radiant
wants
are
to hold this,
scanning.
calling the Batrider over.
Yeah, get over here. If we spot FNG, he can die immediately.
It would be a big kill now. He would be dead for a long time, even though he's just a support. If you buy back and then die, you will be out of the game for a little while. And I mean, we see how fast Morphling can push in this game.
Well, where are these fellas going? Illusory Orb not going to give the vision that 9Pandas wanted, but this smoke move up the stairs might. Yotaka leading the way. Ball lightning out from Storm, but the Skywrath Mage is the first point of contact here for the puck. Mystic Flare chucked in, but the phase shift and the dancing around will allow the puck to slay Seush. And VP, nothing left to do up here apart from farm a couple of neutral camps and get the hell out.
Yeah, Yotaka feeling extra safe there with the shield rune as well. Definitely knows that he's not going to be able to die there. And all of VP have to get out. But this is such an awkward spot now. They don't really want to leave the area. Oh, they're even calling that he's probably farming here.
Hello.
Yotaka finds Storm.
Lasso? They've got it, right? The coil?
Oh, yeah, he's
just
dead.
get over the top of the storm. Absolutely dead. No chance of survival as Kiyotaka and Antares pair up yet again.
That was a great read. That was a really great read. They didn't have any vision. They just called that he's going to be here. He's still going to be in this area.
Radiant's top tower is
And back in the mid lane, Miero getting poked out by the Slug. Yeah. Has forced out away from that pounce leash. Slug kind of bold here, pressing so far forward, but he's got the Aghanims leaps to pounce away, and noticed has the blink. Disengaged from this Miera Timbersaw, who was just stepping up and facing off. Broad-shouldered lad just walking in there and saying, you can't farm here, really, can you? Bouncing him out of the jungle.
They have great atomization going on over on the side of 9Pandas. Obviously, Batrider is super farmed because of all the creeps he's been killing, but he has Blink, 4-staff, drums, and they also have the 4-staff on Undying, so double 4-staff kind of just makes it impossible for VP to kill anyone. How are you going to kill when there are 2 4-staffs if there's Slark, Sky, and Magnus, right?
Don't ask me!
you want to RP someone? Okay, they can get 4-staff to the side. You want to skewer someone? They can get 4-staff when you try to go for the Harpoon skewer play. Skywrath ulti, 4-staff. Pounce, 4-staff. It literally solves all their problems right now. It's such a great item.
Ah, so clever. And 9Pandas are leaving Ramses to race up this net worth board, about to crack 20k. And the rest of the team tightening up in the mid lane. Going to get a grab here on the Magnus with the lasso. Noticed has the Gunner Cape and a bit of backup of Squadix and Sayers. They're on to Solo's Undying. With a stun on the Storm, the silence from the Waning Rift, and the damage out of Timbersaw. They blow him up. He's dead for 50 seconds now. Massive window for 9Pandas to get to this Radiant base again.
There's a long timing that they can work with here, and they're just going to start pushing. They have a creep wave top as well. They're just going to take the mid tower first, and nobody can stand toe-to-toe with the Morphling right now. It's not just about all these pickups they have, but Morph is also getting to that monstrous point where he has Eye of Skadi. His man fighting is just tremendous, especially if he agnams the Slark. Slark won't be able to fight back at all, and then the Skadi on top of that. Very, very tough. And Slark is doing what he can. I mean, Kiratic, we see him split pushing here, right? But Slark's building damage is not what he's known for. And look at... Do you ever notice something when you look at Slark in this game?
0-1-1 his kill participation.
I was going to describe it in a different way, but yes, effectively the Essence shift is 0 right now, Gareth. No stacks of permanent Agi stolen at 30 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen that. So, I mean, getting shown something new here, but it wasn't a happy thing. It was a sad thing.
Not a good lesson at all. No, it's pretty wild, honestly. It felt like Slark has had a decent game. You know, he's doing okay. He's farming well. But yeah, when you put it into that
farming, yeah,
that frame of reference, you're like, wait, hang on a second. He's got no permanent agi. He's 0-1-1. Not really being involved with anything in this game.
I know a lot of the time he's also farming away from the Magnus, like a little bit too far, not getting that empower to like steroid him up. If farming is the name of the game, then you need to stay closer than within 4,000 net worth of the Morphling. You need to be like on par to be competitive, or maybe even ahead. And Slark doesn't naturally farm as fast as Morphling, so he needs that steroid. He needs his Magnus. Gonna meet up now. He'll get it.
This next Roche fight for 9Pandas is going to be sickening. They've got BKB now up on the puck. Morphling just finished Satanic, so Ramses doubled down on being unkillable. The Timbersaw's got a Scythe of Ice and a few hundred gold as well. They're going to have so many forms of stayability, control. This Roche round's probably just going to be a freebie.
Yeah, they have timings all around. They also finish up the Boots of Bearing on one of the supports and Glimmer for the Undying. So they have tons of different item timings coming up right now. Looking monstrous right now.
Yeah, might be a moment now with Skadi on the Slark.
Yeah, I think they need to make something happen with it. They're going to try and punish Batrider.
Yeah, catch out on Taurus. Puck is in over the top of Squadix. They've got the Hex, has the BKB to jaunt away. As the Slark did come in with a Pounce Leash. So a back kill, a Kiyopaka BKB wasted, and Roshan's alive.
Yeah, they're portaling down bottom. They want to start taking the bottom area now since Roche is up and hanging out in his summer resort at the bottom part of the map. And with this Hex now, you can't feel as safe just shoving lanes. And that's a big fear that they need to ignite in 9Pandas. They can't be allowed to just go and push lanes like that on Batrider, on everyone. Here's the problem though. Their Roche isn't that fast. And the group up is coming. The move is coming over.
9Pandas gunning for it.
They're too slow, but they're not smoked though. They will see them coming.
And who's that on the right side? That's a Scarlet Mage. Sayers hiding in the trees, ready to strike, but here comes the Timbersaw. They're going to try and evacuate the Roche pit. Kiratic very low. Roshan about to die, but 9Pandas moving into position, and in comes the Ramses Morph. RP down, Aegis grabbed, the Morphling takes it. He's got the Aegis, and VP, they're in tatters. Miero going to survive through the damage from Squadix. Barely gets himself up to the northern tree line, survives it. And now the drag back. Lasso on the Scarlet Mage, and Tara's going to finish him off. And Notice dropping to the Scottish flow of Ramses. A disaster for VP. Magnus down. Kiratic stuck in the forest. Can't escape. Not slippery enough to disengage. And 9Pandas, they get the team fight victory. The Aegis in hand. My goodness.
They realized that he TP'd down there before, so they actually called that he must still be in the corner because they didn't see him leave. They had this ward on the west side here on the hill, and since Stark didn't run past that, it's extremely unlikely that he managed to get past them somehow and go north. So they stick around, get that kill. He doesn't have buyback. This is really horrendous for them now. That
Who got the
steal,
cheese?
Slark got the cheese. He used it to survive and pounced down to the south, but that's where he also was stuck. And just waited there for like 20 seconds and then they came back and found him.
Squad 8's clearing creep waves at least. Not going to be saving his barracks though.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
Yeah, there's creep wave mid and bottom, so I'm not going to be able to get backdoor protection up here.
Another long zip, but the lasso from Bat. Sinister Gaze back, still dragging Sage to his demise.
Radiant's bottom barracks.
Buyback is there for the Sky, and Squadix going even deeper with the ball lightning to look for that next creep wave coming in.
Yeah, that's all he can do right now, but he gets himself a shield rune at least. Gonna TP base.
Middle tower is
And
Now
Skewer
shield
solo.
Radiant's
Good
middle
for
tower
staff.
has fallen.
Gets him out
Lich's
of
armor
danger.
is holding.
Radiant's middle barracks are under
For now. Yeah, keeping that mid lane barracks alive.
Yeah, so they have to back out, but they did get themselves a very nice advantage there. They still maintain that Aegis, 3 minutes duration left after getting bottom, opening up mid as well, and now in such a commanding lead, 23,000 gold lead. I think you're like one smoke and then you're done in this game here for VP. If this smoke doesn't work out, Gareth, I think they're calling it.
Yeah, probably. Last chance saloon. One more shot.
Radiant
game one
are
here.
scanning.
And honestly, 9Pandas, they're probably starting to think, hey, we're one step closer to the Barley Major, one step closer to TI. That's what this series all means to them.
They ganked the Tormentor,
Oh.
and it's not seeing it coming. It
Get him.
was out of nowhere.
Take it down. Yes. Crush this fell beast. Positioned outside of your base.
Yeah, the Tormentor has been slain. Of course, that gives them information where they are, as you get the global message that Tormentor was taken.
Somebody got an Aghanim shard.
Dire are scanning.
Well, now VP just looking to hold their high ground, try and defend their base best they can. And we can start thinking about buyback status. Jump in.
Under Hex.
Noticed. Does grab the Morphling up. Hexed and feared. Caught up in stuns. But he's going to get out with his Manta and Attribute Shift. And still holding Aegis with Satanic. So Ramsey's pretty comfortable just to waveform back. Keep that defensive line with the rest of his team in place. As FNG gets slain by Kiyotaka. Dancing in behind the tier 4s. Taking down the Lich with no buyback. Dropping the gem as
Hex
well.
again.
The Hex. They got
Nice
the figure
RP.
on RP. Noticed in with the empowered Kiritich. Slark trying to open up here onto Ramsey's Morphling as the storm zips over again. But the Slark has no staying power. He can't stand there and fight. He's dead for 80 seconds. And 9Pandas on the verge of victory.
Yeah, we can see he just doesn't have any DPS. He goes on Ramses, tries to fight him, but he can't even get through the Aegis here. Aghanim's too
Squadix.
powerful.
The Storm is trying his hardest, zipping, zapping, hexing up, but Solo gets the Soul Rip out and Ramsey chases forward, trying to go deep for the Magnus, but the Slark has returned. Buys back, gets on to Ramsey, Sinister Gaze there, and the first life's claimed. Lasso back, noticed, dragged in, Kiritich trying to pounce away. A little bit of a short one there, but the second will get him closer to Fountain. They've lost out Magnus, who buys back, and 9Pandas, they're in this position where they know there can't be any more buybacks for the Radiant, surely. But we
Trying to
know
win
there's
just
two
with
more.
lives.
Yeah, just throwing meat into the grinder here, trying to turn VP into a bit of sausage as Kiritich under the depth shroud. Bought a bit of time by himself, stays invis, but notice dieback. A double kill for Kiyotaka. And now a 3 versus 5 where VP, they've got to be wondering how the hell they can get themselves out of this jail cell. They're
Timber's
coiled in their
"Hurt
fountain.
me."
They can't be touched.
Timber's smart. He's not dying. He's just running up and high-fiving now. He's not even fighting them. He just wants to play with them a little bit.
Toying with him in their fountain. I mean, Storm is trying, bless his soul, his little Squadic Storm, zipping and zapping, but with your Slark now dead, and Ramsey's fountain diving, game 1 does go to 9Pandas in the end. Almost a foregone conclusion, it felt like, as they were really getting to the flow of game number 1 here.
Great start here in this best of 3 for 9Pandas, coming in looking strong from the laning stage and holding on to a good lead the entirety of the game. They managed to top it off with a beautiful Aegis steal there as well, as VP tried to get a little bit cheeky. Getting that Roshan would have been massive for them. Sadly, their heroes not the best at taking a fast Roshan, as they weren't fast enough to get it. 9Panda come in and punish. That game could have gone either way, but overall I feel like this lineup of 9Panda just scale better if you don't manage to have non-stop action. Slark not involved enough early on to enough engagements. You didn't turn this game into a bloodbath, And that's what VP really needed. They needed the chaos, the non-stop fighting, the brawl, no real ideas of like, oh, maybe I can have a farming pattern that looks like this and this. No, just chaos. That's what they needed. And 9Pandas, they weren't giving it to them.
Yeah, I mean, this Kiyotaka puck, he had a bit of a slow early game, was involved in like 1 kill in the first 10 minutes. Then the 2 or 3 deaths in that mid lane looked good for VP to get that momentum going. And Kiyotaka took that personally. He ended up 10-3. 10-3 and 10, in fact, on his puck. Really showing that, yeah, with this kind of more farm-oriented ideology on the puck, wasn't going for early moves, was just focusing on, I need Witchblade, I need Kaya Travels. Did exceptionally well.
Yeah, he just stayed relevant in farm. He did make some early moves. They got really punished for the dive under Skywrath under tower there. It was a little bit too deep, but he just fell back, played a little bit slower and reactive Dota, which worked out way better for them overall. And honestly, I think 9Pandas did a good job playing towards their strengths. All their cores just want to farm up and get big, whereas VP, yeah, you kind of want to farm on your Storm, and same thing for Slark, but if you're not getting pickoffs, you're not really getting what you paid for with these heroes. Whereas Morphling and Timber, they're fully happy just scaling up and getting 6-slotted. And we could see at the end of the game there, Miero, he could not be touched. He could do whatever he wanted on his Timbersaw, and that makes Dota easy to play when you have such a bulky front line.
Yeah, and complete freedom to do whatever you want. So game 1, 9Pandas taking the victory, one step closer to the Barley Major, to TI, to these DPC points everyone is coveting. But of course, there is still the hurdle of VP in front of them. It's a best of 3, potentially 2 more games. So we'll take a quick break and return with game number 2.